Hey, Nick here with AIBC Europe. Steve Evans is with me. He's from Stars Games. He was saying they had the business card drawn up, had written star on it, and you had to kind of mark in an S on each individual business card, and there's a lot of them, right?
Yeah, you print 2,000 cards, and you've got a couple of people on the stands. One of them's doing that for the first morning.
Oh.
So
You're not new to the space. You used to refer to the Stars Games as your baby. I guess you've been in the industry like 30 years. It was your baby. But 3 years ago, you won the startup pitch, right?
yeah.
It's not still a baby. Does it still feel like your baby?
Do you know what? It doesn't feel like a baby as much because it has evolved and it's grown. It's a screaming toddler more than a baby anymore, because it's got to the point that it's evolved from my initial vision of where this was going to go. The whole idea behind Racing Stars as it began life was we were responsible gambling products that was looking to take on the likes of the tote. Within the UK market, we had a UK pool betting license, and we were trying to go very much that you couldn't spend more than around £10 per day. It was all limited. It was all very social. Everyone was kept on the same level. It became apparent to us that without significant chunks of cash going into it and liquidities in a pool, that you're not going to be able to scale it to where it needs to go. But we found the game itself was something that people were absolutely enjoying. It was a cross between traditional pool betting and fantasy league, where you'd pick your horses in every race, you get points based on where they finished. So you could be playing against friends in Colliers. We even had the point of there was offices of playing it together where one person had joined, they get their colleagues going, and they'd be coming to us and sending messages saying, I picked these horses, where can I watch them? They'd never watched racing before. So it's clear that the gamification worked. But like I said, the monetization through the pool betting, it wasn't going to get it where it needed to go. And acquisition costs were still close on £60 to £80 in the UK, which is pretty standard. As soon as we dropped that to a free-to-play route, we could pick up customers between £2 and £3. So it becomes over 20 times cheaper than traditional affiliate-style routes.
And that's it. And then that's the route to monetization, lower costs, so you get to a point of profitability earlier, right?
Massively, and not even lowering costs for us, because now we've got to the point that we can bring them in on a free-to-play model and then push them out to affiliates or do a white label of our product, which we've proven that we can acquire players at ridiculously cheap rates, and then we can monetize that through a licensing agreement with various white label partners.
Cool. And then I guess they climb the ladder into monetary games if they so wish, right?
Yes. And I don't know if you're familiar with, there's a couple of games in the UK. You've got the ITV7 and the Super 6 on Sky Bet. They utilise them all the time. They're great free-to-play games. And they get a very high percentage of their acquisition through those two games alone. And the way that you can do that is you make your selections, you enter the free competition. It gives you the option of, if you pick these selections and place a £10 accumulator, it will return you X amount. And you bet hit, and it takes you through to the full paid version. Now, the beauty of what we have is we're not tied to any specific bookmaker. So we can pull in various odds feeds from any of bookie we want. The user won't see any difference. So they'll go through, they'll make their selections, they'll click on the bet here, it will take them off to, let's say Ladbrokes, for instance. It'll take them off, and we'll get a response back as to whether they've signed up for a new account, whether or not it's worth sending that traffic there again. If it is, great. If it's not, we'll switch out the odds feed to the likes of William Hill, Paddy Powers, whoever it is, and we can keep doing that the same. So we monetize the same customer 20, 30 times instead of doing it the traditional route.
Really nice. Did you find it hard to carve out your space in the free to play in the free play area? Is it an area that's growing? Is it saturated with competition? It was a stroke of luck, really, that you found it, and the place you can still grow in.
It's absolutely growing right now. I think the emergence of sweepstakes show that the free-to-play route and sitting slightly outside of regulation for all of your advertising is 100% the way to go. You can, like I said, you onboard players so much cheaper, but it also means that if you put a free-to-play sports game out there on the likes of Meta, on Twitter ads, Meta ads, you're not getting blocked by the algorithms because it's clearly not a gambling product. Even if you had a sweepstakes casino and put it out there, because it's seeing spin wheels, it's seeing slots, it automatically puts it within the gambling sector, whereas fantasy sports is allowed for all of those. So again, your advertising spend is minimal, And I think there's a lot of companies picking up on that. We've worked closely with some others in the sector. There's some guys at Low Six. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They've got some great partners over in the US. So they're working directly with teams and the PGA Tour and the likes of that. So we've realised there's an avenue. We're not only working with operators, we can work alongside affiliate companies, and we can go direct into clubs and have an engagement tool for those guys.
Realize every operator you work with and integrated within, I guess they're all unique to an extent. Every relationship begins with a consultation. How does it normally work? Do you have unique solutions for various operators?
So we have various solutions that are on the board, but I tend to work the other way around. So if someone comes to me and says we're potentially interested in a free-to-play game, I'll then look at their business model and see where are their pain points, where are their drop-offs, and then tailor whatever proposal we make to them based on those pain points. So rather than trying to offer them something, I'll offer them a solution to a problem rather than a product.
Do you have a little more kind of... There's certain rules a particular game that can't be so entertaining, they can't have so much playability. Do you have the same limitations, or you're outside of the regulators? Because you can, your games can be better to an extent.
Of course our games are mental.
They can be better. You're allowed to be better.
Yes, they are. There's a lot of gamification you can put in there. So we've built, we took Racing Stars itself offline for a while, we made some changes in the back end. We've got one called the Winner's Circle, which is one of our partners that has a live racing game. We're adding new features all the time. But when Racing Stars comes back to life, that's going to have incredible amounts of gamification. So we've taken a look at the likes of Pokemon Go, where you can go on and earn badges for creating certain achievements, where you log in certain amount of times, and where you're doing it becomes a game that if people want to pay to buy boosts and tokens now within the game, they can do. But it's also a great way to collate data, to then analyze that data and look at player behavior and whether or not they are likely to go through and click on various sporting offers that we have with our affiliate partners.
Cool, and you must have great network of affiliate partners at this stage, which you built out, right?
It's growing all the time. So if there are any affiliates out there that are looking for a free-to-play game that's growing their database day on day, they come and have a chat with us. But we're working with this company called Confido Network that have a huge amount of affiliates within them. And we were lucky with that one. We had a great touch. So I know it's slightly off topic, but we released an MVP of a football game, which was ugly as hell. It worked. We wanted to just make sure that the sign-on process worked, the leaderboards worked, and it was ready about a week before the Euros. So we chucked £50 paid ad on X, hoping to get 30, 40 people sign up, just do a little bit of testing. We had over 6,500 sign-ups through that one ad. We had a cost per click of under a penny and a sign-up percentage of around 70% of click to conversion. And there's a guy called Richard Gale, who's one of our very first investors. Lovely guy. He's now Chief Revenue Officer at OddsChecker. And you can never get hold of him, ever. You phone him and he's a lovely guy, but he's busy doing so many...
These numbers might excite some. I like him, right?
So I sent him a screenshot of this. He phoned me within a minute, and that never happens. And he was like, we need to get our network and our links on your site and see what we can do with it. And we've had some incredible conversion numbers through it. And we haven't even made the improvements we want to on the game yet. It's still a basic MVP stage. So when that goes live and goes hard at that, we're expecting some massive numbers.
Oh. You sound like a lucky guy. I think maybe things have fallen in line for you pretty well. Lucky guy, maybe a little bit wise after 30 years in the sector. Do you have any wisdoms to offer anyone in the sector?
I think being willing to pivot and acknowledging that you're never going to be the cleverest man in the room. Somebody else has always got an insight that will take you to the next level, I think is very important, because you see a few people that have their vision in their head, and we'll go back to you talk about my baby. I did have this very set vision in my head, and if I'd stuck to that, maybe we wouldn't be where we are now. So being able to take on that advice, listen to everyone around you, is the most important thing I'd say to anybody.
Steve, wonderful having you. Thanks for being with me.